Hello there, this is Mike Goldenberg with Abzan Traverse with a keepable hand, a bit slow but very interactive. Against a deck I have no idea what it is, but let's find out. Faeries. Okay. So, turn 2, they're going to draw a Bitter Blossom. That's a real pain for me to deal with, so I'm inclined to take that. Next turn I get to Inquisition again, and I can take the Snapcaster or the Pestermite. So I think I have to take Blossom now. Blossom also does a cool thing in growing Tarmogoyf. Okay, good draw from my opponent there. Another great draw from my opponent. Opponent chose not to attack. Just cast my own version of Bitter Blossom here, which is a little bit more efficient. Efficient in terms of how fast you put the spirits out, not in terms of overall total game value. Okay. So then I have Snap Push online. My opponent is drawn exceedingly well, especially now that they just hit their fourth land. Don't know if I can win this game one. I'm baiting out the Cryptic here. I have nothing else to do, so I kind of have to cast it anyway. My opponent still has the snap push combo. My plan now is to kill my opponent before the game gets too long, because they have a large card advantage on me, and they have recurring value off of Bitter Blossom and a Creeping Tar Pit to kill me quick. There's really no reason for my opponent to not block here. Okay. Okay. Again, the opponent has drawn perfectly well. Now, I could destroy the Bitter Blossom, but I wanted to clear their board when I could. Now I need to top deck a Siege Rhino or a... That won't do much. Does dodge the Spell Stutter Sprite though. Oh, no it doesn't, it's 3. I always forget that Bitter Blossom is also a fairy. Yeah, they have this game. They still have the snap push. So I definitely want more ways to deal with the creatures. Knight of Autumn seems decent against Bitter Blossom. Spell Bomb seems like a decent tempo play. Spot removal seems pretty bad. Gaddock Tea can shut down Jace, Cryptic, and doesn't hurt me at all. That seems fair. Sand needs more land, but I do have 2 draws with the bubble. As long as I hit that, I think the sand is very good. I'd imagine that Last Hope is the most important card for them to take here. Could be Grim Flare, which is the closest for me being able to cast. But Last Hope does the most damage against their entire deck. My opponent will not be taking the Lingering Souls. Yep, so they're taking Grimflayer, which is my possible play next turn. Land. Come on, land. Alright. Doesn't do much, but he's still a 2-2. And next turn I have Last Hope online. So if they tap out right now for Bitter Blossom, I get to untap with Last Hope in play, and they do not have Cryptic to answer because of Gaddock Teeg. Which means I need to spend a Fatal Push or a Snap Blocker on Gaddock Teeg. Okay. I know they run Mana Leak, so I think I'll actually just run the worst version here. If they Mana Leak my Lingering Souls, it's not terrible for me. Sure. Now I know they're tapped out, they don't have Snapcaster as a blocker. I can easily get in as a quick little attack for 2 here. And I will gladly trade half of a card for their Mana Leak. They kind of had to do it there, otherwise they wouldn't have spent their mana. Perfect. This is going much more according to plan. Now if I had just thrown out Last Hope last turn, I would have been in kind of a bad spot. Because they would have just Mana Leaked Last Hope, then I would have untapped and done what? Played Lingering Souls. Positioning my spells against their removal put me in a much better situation here. Now I know they can't play Cryptic Command. My plan here is to blow up the Blossom. Kill the Fairy. And then pass turn. No attacks with Gaddock Teeg. I'm not attacking into a Creeping Tar Pit or a Mutavault or a Snapcaster. Just gain some incremental advantage while I'm ahead on the board. If I'd kept Bitter Blossom in play, they could have eventually overwhelmed the Last Hope, either with an attack or 2 with the Creeping Tar Pit or extra fairies that were flashed in. So killing the Bitter Blossom when I could, I think, was very important. I minimized the value they got out of it, and I still have a Last Hope in play. Sure. The opponent does not have Cryptic Command mana up. Now I could minus Liliana buy back Gaddock Teague, but then the Liliana would just die to the Creeping Tar Pit. So I actually think what I want to do here is just flashback Lingering Souls plus Liliana. Get a chip in now that I have blockers for the Mutavaults against Last Hope. Okay, I'll gladly trade this. If you flash in the guy that gives him Shroud and +1/+1, I can kill that guy with the Last Hope. That's why I've not activated the Liliana yet. So they've pretty much committed to Mutavault dying here. I'm just holding the Nihil Spellbomb right now. I don't really get any advantage in cracking it. If I end up having some open mana, I really need to draw something, I will. I'm just trying to get as much as I can into my opponent's graveyard before I activate it. And the fact that my opponent will be having to attack my Planeswalkers just keeps me further and further ahead in the game. It's giving me virtual card advantage by extending my life advantage, which lets me draw more cards. Yep. Let's see what they have there. Hopefully I can make them discard a card, and then I can make them discard the other card. Okay, so I missed on both accounts. But I was right, they did have a flash creature in hand. Interesting, they're choosing to keep the land. Let's see. I could buy back Knight of Autumn, won't do too much. Could buy back Brimflayer. The question is, would I rather have a card or keep Liliana alive? I think I'd rather keep her alive for one more turn. I'm expecting a Tar Pit attack on my Last Hope, which would knock her down to 1, which means I'm not going to be able to -2 her, but I'm completely fine with that, because that was not my game plan. Since I do have open mana, I will now just get a little bit of incremental advantage by making it so they can't snap back those cards. Okay, it's a good thing I did not do that last turn, didn't help me. Okay. That's interesting. I'm just gonna Edict off the Liliana, kill it. Which buys back the Mutavault. This does let them kill Creeping Liliana the Veil with their Creeping Tar Pit. interesting that Mutavault does not become a creature still, just a land. Just like before, I'm keeping one spirit back as a blocker for Mutavault. Okay. Fulminator might be better than a Fatal Push here. I don't hate one Fatal Push. Fatal Push helps Grimflayer get through for damage. I like this hand. I wish Veil was a last hope, but I do have early disruption, hand disruption, and I also have my own Bitter Blossom. Okay, probably going to lose Liana here unless they really like their hand, and then I'm going to lose an Inquisition. Liana is the only piece in my hand that isn't redundant. Okay, let's clear the way for Tarmogoyf here. Perfect. So if I play the Inquisition, it's just going to get eaten by Spell Stutter Sprite. A card that basically wants you to stutter when you say it. Opponent does have one unknown card in hand. If that's a Snapcaster Mage, Goyf is dead. If it's a removal spell, Goyf is dead. And they decide to opt to the top. Okay, so they liked their card. It's probably a land or a removal spell. Land. I can Abrupt Decay the Bitter Blossom, and then Inquisition my opponent, or I can cast Knight of Autumn, blowing up the Bitter Blossom. I think the better line here is Inquisition and Knight and Abrupt Decay, not only because it adds, mostly because I know that I can get away with killing that Spellsetter Sprite right now when they're tapped out. This does force me to shock, however. I didn't want white, so this one's fine. You see games 2 and 3, my answers are matching up much better against my opponent. My deck gets much better post-sideboard. Now I have my opponent on a 2 more turn clock, and they only have 2 lands in hand. Yep, I'm just going to take probably Knight of Autumn. My opponent can block here. I'll gladly fog myself for a turn to blow up one of my opponent's lands. So they have one unknown card in hand. If it's a Cryptic, if it's a Snapcaster, they're still in the game. Otherwise, I'm doing alright here. I'm going to activate Treetop just to speed up my clock a little bit here. If this makes them cast Field of Ruin, I'm fine with that. Fairy decks sometimes run Damnation. I'd rather keep the Lingering Souls in my graveyard just in case they do that. It would need another black mana, so a Field of Ruin would be perfect to help them put that on point. Okay. It's one of Reed Duke's favorites, Murderous Cut. Now, since they did blow up my lands, I will cast the 2 spirits now. They had exactly the 2 removal spells I needed to eliminate 10 power off my board. That's a pretty big deal. See, my opponent's about to draw. It's an opt, which is not terrible. Last Hope is very good here, and that is game. Okay. Well, I hope you liked the Abzan Traverse versus Blue-Black Faeries. Let me know what you think.